What's happening, folks? Back with another reaction, back with some more Aha. We're back with another early version from the 20th Anniversary Edition of Analogue. Luca would like to come up and listen, or maybe just... Yes. And here she is. So yes, the next early version that we're going to hear is Over the Treetops. So yeah, the album version, my sense of it now, having heard it a number of times, is it's another one of theirs which has a bit of a Beatles flavor, maybe not the most of any of their songs in that regard, but I do think that element is there, or that characteristic is there. I do enjoy, this is a small part, but there's like a little violin or string flourish that I especially enjoy. I think the guitar is definitely more prominent in the second half. Lyrically, it's one I've come to enjoy in the sense that I like how the narrator is like speaking to the mercurial and a bit eccentric qualities of this she, but he is also saying that like he sort of likes it that way, and don't call her restless, and I'm 2 steps behind her, but he doesn't seem to be overly bothered by that. So yeah, I enjoy the phrasing of a number of the lines. Either way, I will be on the audio lookout for any differences sonically or lyrically. I'm guessing more likely sonically. Nevertheless, let's hear it. This is Aha, and an early version of Over the Treetops, included on the second disc of the 20th Anniversary Edition of Analogue.
Someone like you, if I ever knew, and then I'll be yearning for this over the treetops fly, birds in the sky. She changes how she feels about things, that's okay. It works for me, I think I like it that way. Nothing is true, something is false.
like the ride cymbal. But it definitely gives off a slightly different feel. Like, right when it started, I was like, oh, it feels like it's in a slightly lower tone. Maybe it's just the guitar, but yeah, it felt a bit heavier and lower. And the vocals, at least in the early part of the track, felt notably different in terms of just the vocal quality, and maybe that made it sound a little less Beatles-like to me. The little string flourish I'm recalling from the original, which now, like, I'm almost second-guessing myself, but I didn't hear that here, so I think maybe that was something that was added later for the eventual version that ended up on the album. And yeah, the guitar, which it is more prominent in the second half, like the electric guitar, but I don't think it has quite the same quality. I remember on the album track it has a bit sharper, like, what's the word, like not scratchier necessarily, but yeah, like a bit sharper of a sound. Here it felt a bit deeper, a bit heavier, so it still stood out in the second half, but in a slightly different way. Lyrically, I think it's identical. I didn't catch anything that I don't think is in the album version. So yeah, like vocally a little bit different. The overall feel of the tune was a bit different. It didn't feel like a demo. It didn't feel like really kind of like underdeveloped. It just felt like it had a slightly different configuration, and so it gave it a bit different of an atmosphere and feel. But yes, ultimately, in terms of like structure and again lyrics, I think it's essentially the same as the original, but the individual parts, including the vocal parts, I think they hit a bit differently. So yeah, ultimately, like, middle ground in terms of it sounding very similar to or different from the eventual album version, meaning, you know, some that we've heard so far are like very close to the album version, and a couple have been like notably different. This is like somewhere in between. But either way, again, it's a song that I've come to appreciate more, like, since I did the reaction, so, or, you know, since I heard it originally when I was going through the album. So yeah, it's just great to hear these early versions, because it's, again, another window into their creative process, and while it is of course a snapshot in time, by implication you can get a sense for, you know, when they went back to work on it more, and, you know, when they thought about how, you know, to develop a song more, like how it turned into the version that was eventually released on a proper album. So that is very enjoyable, and, you know, more than any other deep dive I've done, I've gotten to see like behind the curtain in that regard from a-ha, which is another thing. Like, I get it that maybe some bands, like, it's weird to release demos or, you know, early versions, because it's like, well, you know, that was like an initial thought or an initial draft, like just getting something recorded, and maybe some bands would be hesitant to, like, you know, because I write, you know, papers, or, you know, I've written essays and articles in my time, and I look at something I wrote early on, and it's like, oh God, I wouldn't want people to see that, because, you know, I learned to develop that into something much better later. So I, you know, there's a degree of like, but, you know, I don't want people to see too much behind the curtain. So I think it's a testament to, you know, what we've been treated to with a-ha, that we do get to hear these early versions and see and understand a bit more about their process. So ultimately, very cool. I will see you in a moment, as will Luca. Now you can just go up here, you don't have to freak out. I will see you in a moment for another live a-ha reaction. Peace.